What's up, Victoria? Actually, my name's Victoria. We're gonna be doing a trial run of my makeup for the MARINA concert I'm going to tomorrow. But before we jump into that, if you happen to be new to my channel, hi, my name is Tom. I like to be realistic about makeup consumption on my channel. Right now, I'm in the middle of a no-buy. So if this is something that you would like to subscribe to, I would love for you to subscribe. I will have a pinned comment. In that pinned comment will be links to directly support people in Gaza. Please support them. They need your assistance at this time. This will be like my 12th or 13th MARINA concert. I've been a fan since the OG era. I saw her OG tour in America, the Burger Queen tour. Maybe it wasn't the first tour in America, but it was really close. It was still touring the Family Jewels. And I'm really excited to go see her tomorrow. I always love going to a MARINA concert, but I did buy VIP tickets. And there's part of this experience, the VIP experience that we are going to. I normally just buy the VIP to not have to wait in line. Another part of this was there's like essentially like a costume contest. They encourage people to dress up. It wasn't mandatory. It was just something that they had suggested. And I really went all in. So I put a little outfit together, which I'll show you at the end of the video, and you can kind of see what it looks like all together. I very rarely do my makeup for extreme longevity. So in this video, I'm going to be trying out some techniques and seeing if some stuff works for me. I really don't know where we will end up on this journey, but hopefully we enjoy it, and that's why I'm doing a test run. So let's just get into it. I'm gonna start with complexion today, and we're gonna be underpainting. This is one of those rare moments where I think underpainting is worth it if you're looking for incredible longevity. So we are gonna do it. We're gonna underpaint, and then we are going to also put powder cosmetics on top. I haven't done blush draping in a while, but I think it would be the cutest look for my outfit. You can win the costume contest, or you can win the like dress up contest. So I'm hoping to make it to the top 5. You get to go on stage. So I think if I should be on stage, which I'm not guaranteed, but if I should be on stage, I would like for my makeup to read on stage. So that is what we're doing. We're kind of doing different like a lot of the makeup I do is like person to person makeup. This is kind of different. So I think just a lot of blush will read really beautifully, a lot of blush, a lot of highlight. I might put stones on my face. I have a lot of leftover rhinestones. I've been rhinestoning. If you're not following me on Instagram, there's been so many rhinestones. This should be an interesting journey because it's just a very different approach to makeup that I don't often do. For skin prep, I'm going to start with this Trixie Cosmetics First Base Priming Spray. The reason I'm choosing this is it's the only primer I have that isn't trying to like add a glow. And of course I love beautiful glowy skin, but I really want my makeup to last. And this creates like a nice little film between my skin and the makeup. I think for the purposes of putting on a lot of makeup, this will be a really great base. It's an incredible primer. I highly recommend it. It's one of my favorite things that Trixie's ever sent to me. Also, for improved longevity, I'm going to prime my nose with the SISLEY Blur Expert. I haven't done this in a while. It's one of those steps that I think is helpful ultimately in my makeup, but I've said many times, anytime I've talked about the SISLEY Blur Expert, that this is not like something I think is incredibly mandatory. A lot of people use eyeshadow primer as like a nose primer, and that's what I would suggest over spending $100 and whatever dollars on the SISLEY Blur Expert. Like, you don't need the SISLEY Blur Expert. You'll be fine. But we're going to kind of do a combination of things. I did pull out the MRF, and this time I'm actually going to put makeup over top of it, which I haven't done yet. So here's the thing with underpainting. I don't think it's really meant to be as like blended out. I'm a very blendy person when it comes to makeup, but like a real blown out blended look. But I don't think that's really what we're supposed to do with this. So I'm going to like leave it a little unblended. We're going to contour my nose, but I'm also going to include Intuition and Omen from Ritual Defy as my contours, and so I will use either one or both of the contours in here as bronzers. So that is the game plan. We'll start with the MRF palette, which I had just a ton of trouble opening just now. And what are we going to paint it on with? I think we're going to use this from Singe Beauty. This was received when I went to Creator and Friends. It's the 04 brush. We'll start with my highlight. So I'm going into the lightest highlight, and I'm just gonna put it, not worried too much about like blending it or anything, just kind of putting it where I want it. So on the high points of my cheeks. Tomorrow I might color correct my eyebrow for the concert. I'm gonna put it in the center of my forehead. And then I'm going to take the second highlighter shade, which is just a little bit darker, and sweep it literally just below where I put the main highlighter. And I'm also going to put it kind of like on the perimeter of my forehead. I'm gonna switch up brushes here. I'm gonna switch to this Singe brush, the E10. I've tried it for eyeshadow. It's a little too dense for that. So I think it will be actually quite good at picking up the creams. I think I'm gonna contour my nose with the lightest contour here, which is definitely more of a bronzer shade, but I think having the warmth in the center of my face, I think I'll like that maybe a little more than the cool toned gray, which is my usual thing. So I'm taking it down the bridge of my nose and also up to the brow bone. And then we will re-highlight. I'm gonna apply a little more of highlight too. I'm gonna take a little bit of the darker of the two contours and I'm going to really focus it on the temple and then also on my hairline. And then I'm going to use the lighter of the two contours also as bronzer. I'm gonna put it like right there. Now I'm gonna move on to like my true contour. And for that, I'm gonna use a different brush than I usually use. This is the Sonia G Soft Concealer brush. I'm gonna take Intuition, which is the lighter of the two shades, and put it here, right underneath where I put the bronzer. And then I'm going to take Omen and I'm going to put it towards the back half of Intuition right on top. It looks so crazy. I'm going to take Omen also on my jawline. So this is probably more makeup than you've ever seen. On me. And we're not done. We're going to put more on. And I'm going to do right here. I'm also going to take it further down. So this is something I wouldn't do in day-to-day life. But considering we're doing like mostly drama, we're going to leave it at that. I'm going to go back into the Mary Phillips palette and use the color corrector in here. And I'm going to get a pretty thick amount on the brush. Gorgeous. Now we're going to do something that I will not be doing tomorrow. But I recently came into some sponges, and the last time I used the Mary Phillips palette without using a very moisturizing base, it was a little bit harder to blend out. So I have two sponges. So Beautyblender, I mentioned this in my last video, they sent me PR. So thank you, Beautyblender, for sending me PR. I don't often use beauty sponges on my channel. Try to recall a time I did. It's been a long time. But I also have the one from Singe. Whenever we were at Creator and Friends, this was something we could grab from Singe. And Kelly Gooch told me she is the moment. We're gonna do this side of my face with the Singe sponge just to see how we're going. I'm gonna start with the highlights and then I will blend out the contours with a different part of the sponge. Oh, I forgot blush. I'm gonna be using Baby from Trixie Cosmetics. This is one I purchased. And then I'm gonna take the butt of the sponge to blend out the contours and the bronzer. How it started, how it ended. I feel like a lot of the blush kind of got lost in the sauce, so I'm going to reapply that and then maybe blend like a little less. I actually really liked this sponge. Whenever I used sponges a lot, I was a Beautyblender devotee. This is a little bit softer, and it does have like a little bit different of like a texture on the outside. I find that when I used to use sponges, a lot of the ones that I've tried always felt like they had like kind of like I don't know if it was latex, probably wasn't, but they always kind of had some like film around the sponge. And I feel like I didn't like that. That wasn't the point for me. Yeah, I liked that. I liked the way that worked a lot. Now I'm going to use a Beautyblender on this side, and I probably will use the Beautyblender also on my nose. Not that this was really a versus, but it was interesting. I did like this sponge. I like the size of this, and this probably has a lot to do with most of my time using sponges. I was using the Beautyblender sponge, and I just felt like I had a lot more control over it. I also feel like it lifted less of the product than the Singe one. So if you recall, just a few moments ago, I reapplied the blush on this side because I felt like that sponge soaked it up all the way, but I don't feel like the Beautyblender did the same. I did not reapply the blush on this side. I'm going to blend out this side a little bit more. Now I'm going to use a really high coverage concealer. I'm going to be using the Ritual Defee Concealer in the shade Spell 111. Some under my eyes. I'm going to do a couple dots down my nose, on my forehead. And this is going to be like, quote unquote, the foundation that I'm putting over top of the underpainting. But I'm not actually going to put any makeup on top of the outskirts of my face. Oh, I'm going to go through here a little bit, which I forgot to do with the underpainting. So that's mostly just to cover that up. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm going to give it a few seconds while we like talk about the game plan. So after I blend this out, I'm going to bake. Bake, bake, bake. And I don't think baking always looks the most flattering in person. However, I'm not really looking to look as flattering face to face as I am looking to look flattering kind of like under specific lighting. And again, like I'm not, you know, I'm quote unquote painting for the stage right now, but I'm also just kind of like, when you're going out, like sometimes more makeup is more makeup, you know, like, and it just is a whole mood. I've also been watching Love Island. Okay, let's have a little, while this is doing my face, let's just have a little chat. So Tiff and I are watching Love Island season 6, the US version. No spoilers. I swear to God, if you spoil me, I'm gonna quit this channel. Don't do that. Don't spoil me. We're about part of the way through this, like I would say, like we're approaching the halfway mark, but we're not even quite there. I think we just watched episode 12 or 13 last night. There's a lot of shows I choose not to watch because I know if I watched them, I would be in trouble. And this is one of those shows. It's like one of the shows like I know I would clearly enjoy if I sat down and watched it. And it's like, why would I choose to get sucked up into that? But whenever we were in the Catskills, Kelly and I watched an episode and the game was over. Game over. Like it was game over. I was so into it. And it was so fun. It's just so funny. It's such an interesting show. It's the show where I don't even know how to like properly describe it because it turns out to be so many things. The concept of the show is like 5 girls and 5 guys, or maybe it's 6 girls and 6 guys, go to this island in Fiji. And the whole thing is that they're supposed to fall in love with each other. They couple up, they recouple. And that the whole thing of the show is that's what you're supposed to do. And in every episode, staying coupled up or not staying coupled up is seen as a bad thing. Like, and it depends from episode to episode. They introduce new bombshells into the house and it changes the dynamic entirely. Anyway, this already happened, but my girl Hannah got kicked off and I loved Hannah. She wasn't really making any matches, but I just loved her. I thought she was so sweet. That girl put on the makeup. They're filmed in real time. I don't really know how the in real time voting works because like you can vote on things and like we're seeing that happen, but it says voting closed. But like the show is kind of like airing in real time whenever it's on. And you could tell that this was the summer of the hot pink blush because all the girls were wearing the hot pink blush. And even if it didn't look great on their skin tone, they were all doing it. Hannah being one of them. Hannah, I love you. If you're watching my channel, just know that I love you and I miss you, girl. I haven't looked up anyone on social media, so I don't know how anyone is doing because we're still in the midst of watching it. Right now, everyone's ganging up on Leah because she's trying to say that she didn't kick off Rob's girlfriend. And then Liv is like, girl, you were the one who nominated Andrea. It wasn't us. Oh, in this particular episode, I'm referencing the Islanders. Well, America voted on the bottom 3 couples, and then those couples were up for elimination, and then the people in the house had to eliminate each other, the people who were in the bottom. Like, they picked one of the people in the bottom 3. Anyway, it was a crazy time, but Rob's girlfriend got eliminated, and Leah was trying to play like, that wasn't me, I didn't do that, when in reality, like, I don't know that she was doing it super vindictively, but I would say that Andrea's name wasn't brought up until Leah brought it up. Anyway, I love Leah, by the way. In fact, I'm very team the girls, and I'm also convinced, Tiff convinced me of this, that Liv is a mole. Because it's like, she's not very interesting, and she's always like stirring the pot. She definitely feels like the producers. She's one of those contestants on reality shows who like is always listening to the producers and what they tell her to do, whether or not it's like in her best interest to do it. It's actually it's a fascinating television show. And I don't know that I like recommend anyone watch it, but it is really interesting because you're just watching people talk. And it's a real interesting thing, I think, to watch in like modern times because therapy speak is so overused, and watching people on a show where they know it's social media driven, trying to avoid being canceled on social media. So I think that all of the people in the house are communicating more than they would in real life, because in real life, like, you know, like in real life, no one would know that they weren't communicating. It's like, I think they're really putting it on. I'm going to start powdering. I'm going to powder the center of my face with the Wet n Wild Hello Kitty powder. And it's also interesting, as someone who's watched a lot of reality TV, in my time, we're baking, so we're really putting on the powder, by the way. We're really putting it on. And also, since my look is pink, if this really, you know, gives me pink face, a lot of pink, I don't think that's going to be the worst thing in the world. I'm just using the wet sponge to apply the powder. The only show I've ever watched be edited in real time like it. So, like, when you watch Drag Race, you're not watching it in real time, right? Like, these things all happen that you're watching on Drag Race happened the summer prior to you seeing what happened on Drag Race, which means that the editors find stories to tell you over the course of however many episodes there are of Drag Race. So, like, let's say we're talking about season 5 of Drag Race. It's like, perhaps Jinx wasn't super interesting in the first couple episodes of season 5 of Drag Race. However, they knew that Jinx was going to go far, and they knew that they were probably going to have Jinx win the season. So Jinx is sprinkled throughout the season to be given a narrative. She, like, really deserves a narrative. I'm using the Givenchy powder on the rest of my face. But on this show, they literally have no idea who's going to go how far. And also, something that's really interesting about Love Island, because it's such a social media driven show, they know who America likes in real time and who they don't like in real time. And they can give both of those people airtime, which is so interesting because, like, Rob and Leah were, like, really important in the first couple of episodes, but then, like, Rob gets coupled up and then he's, like, kind of just, like, off and being coupled up, and it's, like, really... He's just really not in the episodes, and then he becomes relevant again. But in the episodes that he's not relevant in, he's, like, almost not in them entirely. So there's no, like, linear narrative unless there's, like, an organic linear narrative that is happening in real time on the show, which I find fascinating because it's just, like, they have so little control over the show, which is so interesting. I know that there has been a lot of drama about the most current season, but we're probably going to watch that one next. And we're open to watching Love Island UK. So if any of you watch Love Island UK and have suggestions for seasons to watch, we will take that into account. We also skip, there's like that one episode that comes up every couple of episodes, like the Talkback show. Should we be watching that? The After Sun? Is that what it's called? The After Sun? Yeah, we don't usually, well, no, we haven't watched it. Where we are right now, we'll see tonight what goes on with Leah. Anyway, I don't even think I'm really rooting for anyone in particular anymore. I love Serena, so I just don't want Serena to get eliminated, but I don't think she likes Cordell as much as, like, Cordell seems to like her. But Cordell just took his braids out. He got, like, 17 million times hotter when he took his braids out. And I know that the braids are, like, to protect the hair, but, oh, his natural curls. Ooh. Oh, and Miguel was so interesting for a second, and then he's not been interesting. We're just at the point when 3 new bombshells entered the house. It was 2 guys and 1 girl. And I don't care about any of them. That's the problem. That's another problem that I've been running into. It's not an important problem, but it is a problem I've been running into with the show. I do feel as though there are, like, when they try to bring in new contestants later on in the season, I just don't care about them as much. But also something that's really interesting, because the show's airing in real time, the contestants who come on later in the season, they're not they watch the show. They're not sequestered from the show. So they know the dynamic that they're walking into. Anyway, it's a really fascinating show. And I'm not even trying to, like, intelligentsia this show at all for you. I'm just, like, it just is really interesting when you, like, get down to it, get down to the bone, nuts and bones. So, like, For example, there are definitely like other reality shows. Like I have never touched down on the Real Housewives. As you may know, I listen to some Real Housewives podcasts, or I have. I don't really listen to them anymore. But in the past, I've listened to Bitch Sesh, which I really love. And I resubscribe every now and then to get caught up. But I don't watch The Housewives in real time. And it's because I know I would like it, and I know it would eat up a ton of my time. And I'm just not trying to do that. I just don't want it. I don't want it to eat up that much of my time. Here we are watching Love Island, which in a season, there's like 40 episodes. It's bananas. The show's bananas. Look at my little ringlets. I didn't even do anything to them. I just let them air dry. Let's finish off the face. So basically now what I'm going to do is go over everything. Go over everything. Again, with a powder version of the product. I'm going to use Grisaille, not really as a contour, but I'm going to use it as my bronzer. And here's why. I just don't want a ton of bronzer. The pinks that I'm choosing to use don't have a lot of warmth to them. And so I want my bronzer to read a little bit cooler. So I'm just going to add that where I would usually add bronzer. I might take out something a little more serious to put powder contour on my jawline, but I haven't decided. I don't really feel like I need to go over and chisel more. I just feel like my face, with the contouring I've been doing, is looking the shape I want it to look. We could do something more severe, but I'm trying to keep it soft and flirty. Sometimes I would like to try to get a little more angular with my contour. For blush today, though, you will be so excited to hear me talk about Barbe Papa, and we're going to be doing a lot of it. We're going to start slow, because you can always add more. So Barbe Papa was sent to me in PR from SURRATT. It's still a blush color I love a lot. Starting the application toward the temple and bringing it down. And then we're just kind of going over top where Baby was from Trixie Cosmetics. I feel like it doesn't really look like I have a ton of blush on camera. In real life, I definitely look like I do. But the camera's a good litmus test for what it would look like. Not exactly, but you can definitely get away with some harsher stuff on camera because the lighting softens your look. And you know those people on stage are beating their face. Like, their contour isn't even really super blended because you're painting for the back seats. So pretty. I'm going to take some of it up into my eyelid, although I'm still going to put primer down on my eyelids as well. But we're going to keep the eye very simple, very blown out, just kind of adding sparkle to the eye. We're not doing a very structured eye look. We're going to add a little bit of structure, a little bit of depth with a couple different pinks, but then we're just going to leave it alone. It's not really going to be the star of the show. I'm going to be using the Pat McGrath Iridescent Pink 003 pigment, and I'm well overdue for a critical sass, and I'm on it, by the way. It'll probably take a couple weeks for it to come out, but it'll kind of just be an overview of all of the holiday releases. But they brought back the Gold Zero pigment. Gold Zero, I don't know what the numbers were. And I loved that gold pigment for a really long time. Hope they maybe consider bringing the silver back. They had that in a couple different colors. Do I want to, maybe I'll do a little blush on my nose. That's so, I don't want to say random, but it's so not like me. I want to put it higher on the bridge of my nose. I just think I would be cute. So tomorrow, if I like it, I just need to remember to also put a little bit of Baby on my nose. And I also want to add a little bit of highlight. I think I forgot to contour my nose, so I do want to do that with a powder as well. To contour my nose, I'm going to use this gray from HINDASH. And I'm going to mix the gray with some of the beige, one of the beiges, to give me something a little more organic looking. Because sometimes I find with blush draping, sometimes it can really enhance the face. And sometimes I feel like you can lose the structure of your face. Just blend that in a little bit more. So I'm going to prime my eyes with the Ulta Matte Eyeshadow Primer. I'm also going to take, this is going to be so weird, I'm going to blot my eyes because they're looking a little oily. So I'm just going to take leftover powder on this puff For some people, that's like also enough of a primer just to put a little bit of powder down. Couldn't be these oily lids. I'm just gonna take the powder that's still on this puff and put it on top of that to set it. And then I'm going to go back with the blush brush and more intentionally take Barbe Papa onto the lid. Now there's something for it to hold on to, just so it looks organic as I put eyeshadows down. If you don't do this before, I feel like I've found that with blush draping that sometimes, I don't know, it just looks weird when you do it after. Like, honestly, that's really pretty. And there's a version of me that would stop there, but we're going to be at a concert, so we really need to do it. So I'm going to continue using the HINDASH pink shades. I'm going to use this one for the most part, and I'm going to gradient it. So I'm going to put the darker gradient, just like it looks like. That's what it should kind of look like. In theory, that's kind of what it should look like on my eyes when all is said and done. So I'm going to take the lightest pink with a fluffy brush. I'm going to take it from the inner corner and just kind of like blend it into Barbe Papa. Normally, you'll notice that like I normally like pull it down and then up, but considering we're not really worried about the shape of the eyes, we're not building structure, a ton of structure, I'm not really going to be doing like any kind of like winging out. Now I'm going to go right into the middle of the gradient from HINDASH and kind of use that as a crease. And I am bringing that down a little bit just for some shape. And then I'm going to go into the darkest pink and just put that right here. And now I'm going to go back into the blush brush that I used with Barbe Papa, and I'm going to soften that. You know what? I'm also going to bring some of it a little bit underneath my eyes. I'm going to go back into the center of the gradient from the HINDASH palette. Oh yeah, that was really... Okay, that's really it. That was the moment. Okay, I'm going to do something that I don't usually do, but I actually, you know how I've kind of besmirched like waterline brighteners? I think I'm going to do that on the lower lash with that Soshi one that they sent me in PR. And on the top lash, I'm going to do Cocoa to Tightline. I think I'll just make it look a little more ethereal, which, not that it really needs, but... And now we're going to do some shimmer. I'm going to go into the Unoriginal Nudes palette from Bella Beauty Bar. This was sent to me in PR. I'm going to use Token Shimmer 2. I'm going to take Farinee Pixie Epoxy. I'm going to take a really fluffy brush. I'm also going to hold the powder puff under my eye. So pretty. All right, and now for mascara. We're like in the home stretch. For mascara, I'm just gonna use the KULFI one. It's the one I have open right now, so I'm just gonna use this one. So now for lips. So this is actually the biggest conundrum. Don't really wear like long-lasting lip products. However, whenever I'm going to something like this, it's like something I really wish I had. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna line my lips with Eden from Trixie Cosmetics. This one was PR. This one was PR. I wish I had a pinkier lip liner, but I don't think I do at this time. So again, just not my regular thing. And then for lipstick, I could do a nude lip, but I think using the Teletubby gloss is like the right answer. So now we're to a product I've never used before, and it's a very serious product. I got the smallest version of it that I could find. So it's the MARINA Barrier Spray. So if you're not familiar with MARINA, it's like a stage makeup brand, like a professional makeup artist makeup brand that's like designed for like serious makeup, like it's serious makeup. So I was doing some research. I heard a lot of good things about the Krylon setting spray. And then I read some things where people said that this one was better. So we're going to give it a try. I don't have, like, the setting sprays I have are really nice, but I've never had a setting spray, like, I think I'm going to be wanting, I'm going to be dancing, I'm going to be sweaty. So I want it to be, my makeup to look as perfect as possible on the off chance that I do make it to the stage. On the off chance I do. I'm not sure I'm going to, but just in case. So, all right. This is, yeah, let's see. Okay, it's a pretty good sprayer. It smells of like almost like bug spray. Okay, let's go. It smells worse than spraying your face with hairspray, which is like another way one can make their makeup last all night. It dried on my skin almost immediately. Like I was fanning my face, but the dry down was almost immediate and gave me a little bit of an airbrushed effect. But I also think this technique just kind of makes your skin look perfect, especially on camera in front of the bright lights. It's a lot of makeup for me. Like, it's definitely the most makeup I've worn in a while. But I think it did what it was supposed to. Like, I think it's going to do what it's supposed to. I'm going to zoom you in just so you can get like a more realistic expectation of like what my skin looks like. You can just tell it looks a little bit heavier like on my forehead. Just like a lot more makeup than I usually wear. I think it looks super, super cute. Okay, I'm going to put most of my outfit on for you. So I might add some stones to the gloves. But I got these like earpieces. They have a little bit of danglies. I just think it's so cute. What do you think? Actually, I don't really care what you think. Should have tied this side tighter. If you didn't know, once you put a bunch of rhinestones on a garment, it becomes very heavy. We're gonna adjust the lighting just so you can really take in. So I'm not gonna sit. So I kneel before you. I kneel before you to wrap up this video. Hey, if you enjoyed today's video, I would love for you to subscribe. Let me know what you think of everything I did down below. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. I'll report back on how the mug held up. I'm not going tonight, I'm going tomorrow. So I can't report back in this video. So maybe in a comment down below, I'll have that. Thank you so much for watching. I'm on Patreon and I have channel memberships. You can find those linked below. Make sure you help those people in Gaza. Subscribe if you haven't already. And if I see any of you at the show, maybe I will. I don't know. Who can be sure? Anyway, I'm leaving. Remember to follow your hope. And you'll find me. And I'll see you in a video very soon. Go forth. Turns out.